any price to get that done. Same contractor, Lanco did the work for Harmon Saunders, the same contractor. We have a contract. Contractor moved to the East End Utility Project and was probably 60%, 55% of the way done with the water line. Okay? They started on Tavern Street and they've completed, they've made all the connections and they still need to raise fire hydrants and things. But they've laid water line to Viewbank Street and they're probably 3/4 of the way down Viewbank Street as of this afternoon.
They're making a turn.
Are they ready to make the turn? So
Making the turn.
they're all the way down to Broad Street, and then we'll be making the turn on Broad and going down. Once they finish the water, then the sewer will be next. Second contractor continues to complete improvements to the treatment plants. The town has executed a change order with Lisbon for the installation of the recirculation pumps, which will increase wastewater treatment capacity by 10%. We did report this to DEQ and asked them to look at our permit limits. If you remember MacBug's original letter to us, by doing this work, the estimates of the construction are contingent upon DEQ not radically changing your permit limits, okay? There's a caveat to it. And DEQ has completed its permit limit review, and Edward Harris, the supervisor at the treatment plant, is satisfied that the review shall not affect current process. We're not gonna have to do anything because the new permit limits, we're already meeting them with the treatment plant. So it is of, he's not concerned that we will have any problems by doing that.
So we're expanding capacity by about 200,000 gallons.
At no initial cost.
That's great, great. East End neighborhood, got a rehab meeting.
Tomorrow morning, we have meetings, the management team and the rehab board. So, Mr. Miller, you can make sure you're available. And we're also going to discuss some weatherization project that we'd like to get started on. With the weatherization, as Yvonne explained it to me, some of the recommendations for folks that we're going to try to take on, we're trying to spread it around town a little bit. So, you know, we did one on, in approximately the east end, we did one on the west end last year, and then we did one on Stoke Street. So I think the next batch, we're going to try to spread around a little bit more. And I think the recommendation for perhaps a home on Pickett Court and another on Fifth Street.
Very good.
And I think there's a third on Sullivan Street, but I'm not 100% sure that we're going to be able to afford to do all of them in this current budget year.
Looking to do it 3 homes a year, basically. That's what we did last year.
If it's simple,
It's not a-
Not a big job.
but building a new one pretty much eats the
It was
budget.
tough. Rental property maintenance, which is underway, enforcement. We've inspected 4 units. I read in our packet. How'd they all do? The 4 that were inspected, did they pass?
No, they have passed now.
So there were some deficiencies, some violations.
Yes.
When you find a violation, as long as they agree to fix it, they're not fined or anything.
Correct, no second fine.
Is
Okay.
it typically
We don't
smoke
charge them for a
detectors
follow-up inspection.
such as that?
Yes.
Yes, for the most part, findings were maybe smoke detectors, maybe windows not opening like they need to be, some electrical, being able to identify what's grounded, what's not grounded, mostly.
The smoke
So-
detectors, that's just glaring. That's a glaring deficiency. That's almost, I hate to say it, that's almost shameful. I mean, that's terrible. But thank you,
Yes.
thank you. Moving right along here, weatherization, well, they're meeting tomorrow. Comprehensive plan, which we're gonna use some of those surveys to make this plan.
Yes, and like to have a team working with me on the comprehensive plan. So I requested to identify some people in each of your districts. It's open to others who are interested, but definitely just trying to get some other people involved so that we can get the comprehensive plan taken care of. So it's
Want those
gonna,
names next month? Or you want
as,
them to- Does anybody have names now?
as soon as possible, they can email me.
Okay.
That'd be fine.
All right, this will be, you like 2 from each ward, or
Yes.
each council person, which would be 14 people.
Yes,
Okay.
if possible.
Very good, okay. All right, so we'll try to get, that would be called the Community Survey, that would be called the Comprehensive Plan Advisory Board, the team. Very good. Very good. Under new business, we are going to reconductoring bids along Brunswick Avenue for basically rebuilding our electrical system or
Building
replacing.
the lines on the top. If you remember, probably 3 years ago, we did a big project on West Entrance Road.
Yep.
On a portion of Lunenburg Avenue. This is the same kind of project. It's our intention to bid it out. We have the cash set aside for the project, so we don't have to scramble around. We've been saving our shekels during the course of the year. It's a reconductoring project, so the poles, for the most part, are going to stay. There may be a few pole replacements, whereas we replaced a significant of the poles, number of the poles last time. If you notice on Lunenburg Avenue, you'll see the guys out there already working, putting some extension on some of those poles.
And just for the public, when someone asks you, hey, why'd y'all pick Brunswick Avenue to go fix, to reconductor, what's the answer?
We wanted a three-phase line that would go out to what is now
Show best.
Show Best Furniture
Okay.
property, and that's the line that serves Show Best. We finished the circuit, the west entrance circuit last time, and tied it back at Third Street right behind Win Furniture's warehouse. And this time, this is a three-phase line. If you look on top of the poles, there's three lines, three-phase, so we're trying to focus on the three-phase lines. It's not necessarily because it serves any particular property, but primarily because because residences aren't typically connected to that three-phase or
Right.
dependent on three-phase,
Right, business.
but Show Best is, and that's the line.
Okay.
that goes out. And that's the line that Dan felt like most pressing.
Those bids will be open on May 1st. That'll be, those funds will come, they'll come from the electrical fund, obviously. VML insurance renewal, we're getting a 4% increase for our liability and casualty. I think last year it went down, but this year's going up.
Going up primarily because of the Line of Duty Act.
All right. That's just informational.
Did we ask them to include $24,000?
The council need to approve the renewal. It's not informational, it is, I think we need to approve the renewal.
Will you please make motion?
Is there a motion to approve the VML renewal?
Be in the budget, I thought.
The cost, motion has been made by Ms. Thompson, seconded by Ms. Hasbrook. It's $209,377, which is a 4% increase. Ask for a roll call vote, starting with Mr. Nash. Motion carries 7-0. Under new business number 3, the revenue sharing,
Just, can we go back to VML real quick?
yes.
If you look at their contribution summary, there's a policy under there, no fault property damage. So that $10,000 we're getting from VML for Moncure, we paid $4,000 for it. That's what it cost our policy each year to have that.
Wow. Good point, good point. Very good. New business number 3, this is a revenue sharing program agreement.
It's standard, ours has expired, they're good for 3 years, and Jimmy Shepard with VDOT is asking that we adopt the attached agreement so that we can continue to proceed on. This is specific to the 6th to 8th Street, Main Street property.
I entertain a motion to approve. Mr. Nash has moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Jones has seconded. Standard boilerplate resolution. All in favor say aye.
In addition, VDOT's really specific about this. They want to make sure that there is either a resolution authorizing signatory authority or a motion authorizing signatory authority. And I know we do that sometimes, and I would like authorization.
The resolution states that signatory authority is for,
So it's included.
yes, but may want to adopt the resolution.
I would ask council to make a motion to adopt this resolution regarding South Main Street from 6th Street to 8th Street in your packet.
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Okay, no split votes tonight, folks. Come on. Surplus list approval from Transit Director Josh Worrell. Josh, what do you got a bunch of old computers and
Yeah, these computers are probably pushing 12 years old.
they're 3 times older than they need to be.
Then there's a few miscellaneous items. Large I-beams, so those are like really long beams that came from the old generator shop, I think.
Came from the Old Town Shop. If you remember, there was a steel framework over top of the Quonset style building.
Yeah.
And we took those down in anticipation of building a salt spreader shed. But in the meantime, we bought stainless steel salt spreaders, so we don't need to put them under cover anymore, so the beams are unneeded.
I'd ask for a motion to approve the proposed surplus list.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Hasbrook, seconded by Mr. Morgan. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. How will you'll put that on the
GovDeals.
website, GovDeals? GovDeals, very good, very good.
And we also put a little
You do?
paper,
Yep,
just so local folks will know about it as well.
very good. Next up, you have an annual engagement letter from Robinson Farmer Cox. They've been our auditors for 30-plus years.
They have established, I believe, April 24th is the date that they're going to come do their preliminary work, which is basically checking procurement, looking at purchase orders, all that sort of thing. This is engagement letter they require. There's a slight increase from $20,600 to $21,000, if I'm not mistaken.
We held them back for several years.
We did hold them back.
We did. I'd entertain a motion to approve as presented.
So moved.
Mr. Morgan has moved. Is there a second? Ms. Jones has seconded. I'll ask for a roll call vote, starting with Mr. Nash.
Aye.
Aye.
That motion carries 7-0. The town manager in your packet has asked me to refer 2 items to committee.
That number 6 was added to.
Oh, I'm sorry. On your,
Apartment parking lot.
Oh, for the,
yes, we have a request from PETA. PETA wants to do spay and neuter. Are they gonna do spay and neuter on the spot, or just,
Yeah, it's actually a request, not a way allies for Paul's,
Okay.
actually
yeah,
facilitates it.
okay. I just didn't know they
They've
came to
been
town
doing-
and do it right there on the spot. I
They've been
didn't,
doing it at Goodwill.
I didn't-
And
okay.
Goodwill doesn't want them at that location anymore just because, I
Gotcha.
guess, they're selling the building, so
right.
I thought the agreement was pretty benign.
it varied,
I
yeah.
didn't see anything obligatory.
Does council wish to, I'd go ahead and make a motion to authorize PETA. What's the day on this? This is,
They
They
haven't set
come
a
every
date.
other month, I think, but they want use of the Blackstone Police Department parking lot. When
Across
they
the
come
street
every
from
other
you.
month.
yeah, I would just say that every time they come, they need to coordinate with Chief Kuzmak. I don't want, if he's got a big clash or something, I don't, I just think I would ask council to require that they be in contact with the PD.
So
That's fine.
moved.
All right.
Is that a motion?
There's a motion.
So-
Is there a second? Mr. Nash is second. Any concerns? I see some. All right, everybody okay? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. There are 2 items that the town manager has asked me to refer to committee. Number 1 is property liens. I think this is one of my little ideas that I may suffer from. But when the town takes a lien out on a curb and gutter project, it does not charge any interest over the time. So if I do curb and gutter next week and pay my share of $7,000, I can just say, well, my children will deal with that.
30 years.
50 years from now, it's still $7,000, but the town's cost. So I'm gonna recommend a health and ordinance study, what would be a fair interest rate that would not be crippling, because you want to incentivize curb and guttering. But, the town could do a ton of curb and gutter and be out a lot of money and not get it back for years.
We got plenty of liens out there.
Right.
Tearing houses down and doing curb and gutter, plenty of
So
them.
that's health and ordinance, that's Ms. Jones's committee. And then the second issue, the town manager has it listed as license suspension DMV. What are you asking there?
I think that currently there's a lot of folks that are not able to renew their licenses because they have outstanding fines and that sort of thing. And hang on a second, hang on. But I do think that what is afoot at the state capitol is that there's some relaxation of some of that sort of thing.
sure.
And I think that Brittany wants to make sure that we're in compliance with state code.
I would refer that also to health and ordinance, and probably have to have Tessie Bacon help us on that, make sure we're good. Under mayor's minute, I only want to say that, 2 things really, 3 things actually. I think at the next meeting, at the next council meeting, put this on the agenda, we're gonna schedule a retreat for either September or October. And and it's football season, I know, but we're gonna have to pick a date, because Ms. Hasbrook's had that idea, and we need to do that. But we've got plenty of time to just throw a date out there, and that way, we're committed. So that's gonna be on our May meeting. The other thing I just wanna tell you, I've always said Blackstone's a great community. When I went in my mailbox the last 2 days and seen all the cards following my mother's death, I'm so glad I live in Blackstone. And I wanna thank each one of everybody that's passed on good words in the prayers. I feel it, and it helps a lot.
She was a wonderful lady.
I'm biased, but she was, and I thank you.
She was the mayor's mom.
She was like no other. We're gonna give her a farewell Saturday. The other issue I had penciled in here, Mr. Miller wanted to discuss it. I guess maybe he and I will tag team it, but budget billing. We had some discussion at the last council meeting, and I had a number of people after the council meeting ask about the policy. And I explained to them that you have to be at your residence 12 months so the town can fairly calculate your average. And the second thing was, the current policy is you have to have 6 consecutive months of timely payment or you can't be on the budget plan. I've had a number of people in the community say, listen, can you change that as long as it's the people who are late that need the help? And if someone obviously owes the town money, they shouldn't be put on any budget plan because they need to pay their bill. But I told them I would ask council to reconsider, to relax that if anyone that is in good standing, they've been at their house 12 months, they don't owe the town any money, could you put them on the budget plan? Because by the budget plan's own laws, The first time you're late, you're ejected from the budget plan. So there would be no monetary risk to the town, other than that which already exists by them being late. So I told a number of constituents I would bring that before the council, and I see their point, but y'all, the legislators, I'm not.
I'd like to add to that. Yes, it's a heavy topic. And I don't know how council feels. I've talked to a few council people about this. And I would like to see that, like you said, if they don't owe any money, that we go ahead and let them go on the budget plan. But here's the catch to this. I don't see if you're on the budget plan and you get kicked off the budget plan again, I don't see where you should be able to come back and apply for 6 months. I feel that there should be a year's waiting period.
You think it should be a longer waiting
I
period?
think there should be a longer waiting period, because if we put you back on here, and I mean, we sticking out our neck for you, then I don't think that if you get kicked off, you should be able to come back and say, okay, 6 months' time. I think it should be 1 year.
I will tell you, as it currently stands with the policy in place, you don't have a budget plan. You got 8 people who are eligible. 8. Out of all the applications, it's a waste of time. Just, if we don't make some modification, I think you just probably need to drop it, because it's 8 people are all that qualify out of all the applications. I can't tell you exactly how many people have applied, but it's in the dozens.
Wow.
And 8 people met the.
That's why people were really upset, I think, so.
It was the majority of those reasons they don't qualify because they don't owe money.
Not necessarily owe money, but because they paid late in the past.
I've heard, the biggest thing I've heard, and,
All that happens.
which I'm really not a fan of this light bill policy anyway. But the biggest gripe that I'm hearing is, they're saying that if they put it in the mailbox, the drop box, on the 31st, some of them are saying, well, they got charged for being late because they didn't get it. That's the biggest complaint I got.
From the dry box?
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
Because if it's.
Because I had one person to say that she put it in the box, but they still charged her late. I didn't go into no detail about it, but that's what she was saying.
I think the only time those are charged is if it's after 8 AM, because the girls
The
check
next
the
day.
box.
Oh,
at
okay,
8 AM.
okay.
Right.
If they put it in at 8:02, if they put it in at 8:02,
Okay.
then
That's
So
true.
then that
It's the
might
next
stand a
day.
reason, that might stand a reason, Right.
Well, yeah, you don't have to make a decision tonight, but I think that we heard, that's interesting testimony, 8 people,
You don't have a budget.
How many
bill, you
people
just gotta
applied?
drop it.
probably
Because I can
50.
tell you, there's probably not a whole lot
I
that
don't
want
know the
to.
exact number, I just know that.
be
I
on it.
I do not want to pay you any more in the summer. I love those low summer bills. I don't want to pay you more in the summer, but I'm also able to afford my bill, so I'm not a fair
It's
comparison.
not good cash management. We're getting to keep everybody's money for X number of months and make interest on it. So but some folks aren't able to.
Budget or
make those
discipline.
payments. So if we offer it as a plan, without modification, you ain't got a plan. It's a kind of a Pyrrhic Trojan horse.
I like what Mr. Miller said. If someone does not owe the town of Blackstone money, they can enroll. But if they're late, which ejects them from the plan, they cannot reapply for the plan for 12 months. Of course, we all know what happens is the people that get kicked out. We have a high number of people here that need all the help they can get, and this is going to the mat for them. But again, there's no monetary risk to the town. That person who can't pay their budget bill, he or she may not be able to pay their monthly light bill, and then the town has mechanisms to, you start going down the road of cutoff.
Well, like I said before, it's the same customers that you.
Well, as Mr. Miller said, if I sign up tomorrow and I'm late the first month, Billy Colgan gets kicked out of the budget plan. He can't even reapply for 12 months.
Well, what does that mean that they don't owe any money?
It means, okay, Billy Colgan comes and goes, look, my wife and I, we want to be in the budget plan. All right. Well, Mr. Colgan, well, you're late. You've got some penalties and interest you haven't paid us from 2 months ago in your light bill. Then I've got to make that right. Or if I wouldn't know if I'd apply taxes. Well, taxes, if you owe the town any money, you shouldn't be on the budget plan.
Correct.
Right.
But like, just say you didn't, I think, whatever.
Say you
day
didn't
it's
pay your
due.
bill in February, but you paid it late, and you went to apply right now. He's saying that you should be able to.
But you would owe the penalties and interest.
Yeah,
Well,
you
yeah,
pay.
hopefully you've
Yeah.
already
In other
paid-
words,
you should have
when
already
you
paid that.
Right,
Yeah.
so if the bill is, if you didn't pay by May 1st,
Right.
or you paid it May 2nd.
Right.
After May 1st, you already have 5%, is that right?
Yes, 5%.
So then you haven't paid the 5%, so does that mean you don't owe money, or you do owe it?
You owe money.
You owe money.
You owe money.
In other words, you gotta have a clean, but what I'm saying is you have to have a clean slate,
Correct, correct.
a clean slate.
But wouldn't that affect a lot of the people, because they aren't gonna owe the 5% or the $12.50 or, right?
Yeah,
Is that right?
it's 5% penalty, but I think what the rationale is those people that that have been late in the 6 months prior to them applying,
Oh, okay.
that's their argument is, look,
Yeah.
that's proof I need the budget plan.
Right.
And that's, and they're saying you're shutting me out, and as the town manager said, we only got eight people enrolled in it in the second month
Qualified, yeah.
that are qualified. So, anyway, you don't have to make a decision tonight on that, but how about, why don't we agree to let, unless you wanna make a motion?
I would like to make a motion that we adopt this policy.
To amend the policy as outlined by you earlier. If there's a second, is there a second?
Second
Ms. Jones, a second. I see Mr. Tom Taylor with,
All right, before y'all do all this motion and whatever you gonna do, how about if a person say, okay, he late, then on the first of the month, he paid the 5%, don't get no pink slip, no problem. Can he still get in that payment plan, or you just don't?
no, if he paid that 5%, at the time he applies, if he does not owe the money, he can come in the payment
But
budget
if
plan.
you do that,
It was a budget.
No, but then so then you get in the budget plan. So you're in the budget plan. Well, the very rules of the budget plan say that if anyone pays late, if they're in the budget plan, they are then kicked out of the budget plan. That's the rules, and right. And you're seeking to keep that rule.
I'm keeping that rule, but I
Okay.
said instead of 6 months,
12 months to reapply.
12 months you can
You
reapply.
can be, okay,
Now, I'm sorry, before you vote.
that's fine.
Do you think that, Jessica and Brenda need to, is there anything they might have to change
If
before
they
it
come back
starts
and say
again?
there's some
Yeah,
pressing
we don't
matter
wanna-
I don't know if there's something they might have to
Conflict.
change before you can do that with the.
If so, we-
Go with it tonight now. Brenda and Jessica come back with something dramatic.
I'm sure they're not gonna be tickled to death to hear that. I mean, I don't expect them to be tickled
I
about
just don't
this.
know if it's something like in the bright system, they might have to change.
Right.
We may have.
Right, and that's fine. All right, let's see how we go. We got a motion made and seconded.
I'm sorry, who seconded it?
Ms. Jones seconded the motion to amend the budget billing plan. We'll go with a roll call vote, starting with Mr. Nash.
Aye.
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 Motion carries 7-0. Thank y'all very much. And like I said, it works a hardship, we can bring it up. Police report, we have the chief with us. Chief, everything going all right?
Everything seems to be. Any questions from council?
Any citizens in the audience? This is the second and final opportunity to comment on, y'all been a very attentive audience tonight. I've been very impressed. This is a late crowd here. Yes, anything. Open mic, right here. Anything. This is a beautification committee member, Deborah Moore Colburn.
Colburn.
All right,
This is gonna be quick.
all right.
It used to be that when you went for a job interview or to meet someone for the first time, that you wore your Sunday best because you wanted to make a good first impression. Don't we want to show off our town in the best possible light, not only for our hometown pride, but to impress potential new residents and businesses? People coming to look at Blackstone see sites differently than the people who live here. We get used to something and then it gets ignored. Potential buyers look at the neighborhoods and surrounding properties. A new home is the biggest investment for many people. They want to feel that their property is going to be maintained, its value, and that there are municipal codes in place to safeguard the integrity of the neighborhood. The house beside Dollar General is vacant, overgrown, unsightly, with discarded furniture, trash, and even a door frame outside in the front yard. Who would want to buy this property next door or even across the street from this? The regulations and codes to correct these problems needs to be enforced. Can the town remove the trash, debris, and bill the property owner?
The property's been sold
We're not, the property is not closed
by
yet.
judge, yeah.
There's really no owner to deal with at this point because the property was put up at tax auction and there has been a buyer, but his bid has not been accepted. Okay? So if we go to the old owners, nothing's gonna happen. Entering onto private property and having the town forces do so without an agreement from a property owner, we require a judge's order, just like on Fall Street. Okay? Can we enter the property? No, we can. Council says go, we go, but I caution against it. And there really is no formal owner of the property. I guess we could go back to the people who did not pay the taxes and had the property sold, but I don't think you're gonna get any action. I think the only action to enter the property would be to go through Judge Sullivan.
What's the holdup on that? The sale was taking place a long time ago. We approved here.
And Mr. Outlaw's deceased, he's the one that owned it.
I don't think you're gonna get a lot of resolution dealing. I think the transaction needs to be completed, and then the new owner.
Can you call and see
where it's
what
at.
the status of that is with Mr. Elliott?
Because I was looking to see
Uh,
the code on accumulation of trash or weeds.
Uh-oh. There we go.
And it states that the town manager or his designee determines that a violation of this article exists, then he can go onto the property.
But I won't, because our town attorneys advise us not to. That's why we've asked the judge, Sella, to enforce the town entering property on Fall Street, where we have a hoarding situation. She has advised we do not enter property without the judge's order, or an indemnity agreement of sorts signed by the property owner.
So how much longer?
I mean, if we were to enter properties, I think there's probably one on Lunenburg Avenue that would have been entered a long time ago.
Brunswick Avenue.
Brunswick and now.
Brunswick Avenue, excuse
Thank you,
me.
Mr. Morgan.
So, in order to do these, Tessie wants us to follow a process. Trust me, we used to burn houses down on a 30-day notice. No title search or anything, because the code says that. After 30 days, if no one has responded, then the town's entitled to. That's just fraught with risk, and that's why we don't do it. Tessie wants us to be a little more deliberate, have a title search conducted and all that kind of thing, and advertising in the newspaper. Currently, the town's code does not require advertising in the way we do it, nor does it require a judge's order, but Tessie wants that. And I agree. If we're in on private property, I want the judge to say, Mr. Van Orbeck, you're entitled to go on that property.
You want to cover your bases, that's for sure.
It's a slippery slope if we don't. Like I said, we used to be pretty cavalier about burning the houses down when I first started working here. 30-day notice, we didn't get a response. The fire department was gonna cook it off. And we've had to peel back on that based on Tessie's recommendation.
Just reach out to Mr. Rourke and Jim Elliott and see where it stands. We've done our part. We forgave the taxes here, I
But
believe.
the gist of what Deborah is saying is what comes up at beautification and in conversations all throughout town is the fact that in a town where the slogan is still come share our pride, increasingly there's signs that there are fewer and there's more and more people, property owners that are not showing their pride. And then there's a fine line of, as we're all in this room, I think, not big fans of big government, but when things reach a certain point, the people look to the town and say, what are you going to do about that house? So that you know, and we're kind of, our hands are tied, kind of.
When our hands aren't tied, but we can't be as cavalier as perhaps what the old code said.
Right.
Tessie does not want us doing that, trust me. I don't have any problem getting stuff cleaned up and hoarding, and I'm gonna try to be a proactive guy, but she wants to be very cautious. Cautious enough that if you remember that same property on Brunswick Avenue, she did not declare that a harborage of.
It's not a violating the ordinance. So the wooded lot with the, you know, it's got an old call
Trees
vehicle.
blown down and all
It's
that.
got an old vehicle with a current license tag on it. It's not even an inoperable vehicle.
There you go.
It's got two structures that some would argue and some may not, that they may be condemnable. But that's not our call, that's the building inspector.
So,
What about this house with the porch?
it was my understanding, I spoke with a listing real estate agent, that property was gonna close
Sold today.
today. And
Which street is that on?
Did it close
Main
today?
Street.
Main Street.
Oh, that one,
Did it
yeah.
close today?
Yeah.
It did. So there is a new owner who we can speak with.
They will,
and I promised
I
the realtor
promise
I
you, their
wouldn't.
contractor, they will, it's gonna be pristine.
I promised the realtor that I would not take enforcement action until such time as April 15th came around. But they did tell me that the closing was proposed and apparently
is.
it did close.
What about the house on Irving Street where the porch is?
Which one? You have a picture of it?
No.
The one next to the church,
Yeah.
it's up for auction. It's still
No. That one, that auction is the one next to it.
The large one.
of,
Yeah.
no one,
Capuchin's house?
yeah.
You got me, I had nothing or
Yeah,
even
so
come up with a plan or an idea on that thing.
But anyway, my other question is, with these real estate companies that have listed properties that need to be repaired, can there be a way for them to, say, you know, cut the grass, pick up, you know, the fallen tree limbs and the debris and trash, and keep the property decent looking?
We do enter property and cut grass pretty regularly.
Yeah.
We do that, and boy, that house down there on South Main Street, Jesse Bullville, that.
After
I
you
bet
send
we go
notice
there
to the
about
owner.
25 times.
After you send notice to the owner.
After
though.
we send notice and do all those kind of things, but, can the real estate companies handle it? I would think that they'd wanna have it done so that the property looks presentable to
So.
sell, I would think. But, just like dealing with, somebody coming back to fix rust in the cemetery, if there's an issue, I'm happy to go talk to the realtor. And I think they prefer that rather than an enforcement letter or
Sure.
something like that. I'd sure like
But
to pick up the phone, and if there's something at the Papucci's house that needs to be looked at, I'll get Dean Lewis over there. But the one on Bagley Street, they did tell me they were proposing to close, and I said, well, I'm not gonna take any action on it because it is getting to be an issue. The house on Fifth and Brunswick, same situation. And I see some movement, I think it's been sold, and I see some folks.
Oh, no, I've talked to those folks, the Skidmore house on Fifth Street's another one though, that's the old Skidmore house.
It was inspected, just so you know.
Was it?
Yeah, I went down there with Dean, and Dean did not declare it condemned, but Dean does want some of the windows secured.
Right,
Windows
because
open.
people going in and out of it.
Yeah, I knew Jennifer and Dean inspected the old funeral home on Church Street.
No action, I don't believe.
And I sent
With
out
holes in the
a
roof
certified
and-
letter and tried to get them, but they won't even accept the mail, so I've gone to Tessie, and I don't think I have to advertise in the paper for any.
And that's
property.
one house. Think of the labor, that's, we're talking about one property. But your comments are right, are spot on. They're spot on. And it's just, I mean, and I didn't mean to cut you, anything else you want to say along that line?
No, my ending was, I just wanted the town council and the manager to put Blackstone in her Sunday best.
Amen. Right now, it's a tough Wednesday.
Monday.
Tough Wednesday. I see Mr. Arms is still with us.
Yeah, what you, somebody call behind community meetings, 100 hires on it.
Well,
That's been a wreck for,
what's the answer on that? There's a zoning answer to that, I believe. It's allowed, isn't it? It's permissible.
The car, the white car you're talking about is like a Nissan Altima or something like that that's sitting back there. I've seen it many times. There was at one time an operative or a repair shop. If you remember, and somebody had made some complaints over there. I don't know if that's associated. I haven't called them. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Put it after that.
If that operation's closed, they're not entitled to have a junk car over there.
That is a nice one.
You're right.
It's pretty nice.
I don't think a car's been worked on there since David Varner or David Earl used to run that place. I mean, years.
There was a,
Has it?
Yeah.
within the past
Matter
few
of
years.
fact, that guy changed
Oh,
the
change
motor out
oil?
that car.
Okay, all right. Good observation, Mr. Arms. You're trying to get brownie points for that ditch, I can tell. Colonel Tom.
I'll be quick. I just want to say that I'm disappointed in the council that we took no action to vote on a $750,000 grant. We had an opportunity to apply for a federal historical grant for up to $750,000, and we just let it slip by. The previous council was in support of the Armory in terms of anything that they could do for at no tax dollars or minimal tax dollars. Nothing has changed in that that I'm aware of. So we gave up an opportunity for free money, $750,000, free money, no strings attached. I mean, would we have done that if it was for downtown? Would we have done it if it was for the East End? Would we have done it for anywhere other than the Army? I'm just disappointed.
Okay. Thank you, Colonel Tom. Appreciate that. Just could not get the interest for a vote. Any other business coming before the council? I said we leave at 10. I'm sorry, I'm going to be a little early. I apologize. Meeting adjourned at 9:57. Thank y'all all for coming.
You couldn't wait for him to hit the gavel, could you? You couldn't wait for him